Let me ask you a brutally honest question. Why do some men leave a deep emotional mark on a woman without saying anything extraordinary, without chasing, without trying too hard, while other men do everything they can to impress her and still feel forgettable? And that question matters because most men think emotional connection is built through effort. More texts, more compliments, more attention, more availability, more explaining, more proving. But that is not how deep emotional connection works. In fact, the more a man tries to force it, the less real it feels, because women do not bond most deeply with the men who simply give the most. They bond with the men who create a specific emotional experience, a feeling, a rhythm, a presence that stays with them after the moment ends. And that is the part most men never understand. A woman does not feel deeply connected because you flooded her with words. She feels connected because something about being around you starts affecting her inner world. She feels calmer, more seen, more alive, more understood, more emotionally safe without feeling bored. And when those states come together, the connection becomes hard to ignore. So today, you are going to understand the 7 behaviors that make a woman feel deeply emotionally connected to you. Not dependent, not manipulated, but connected in a way that lingers in her mind and changes her emotional rhythm. And the last one is the one most men misunderstand, because they think it is about romance, when it is actually about emotional memory. The first behavior is making her feel emotionally safe without becoming emotionally flat. Because a woman does not bond deeply to a man who is only exciting. Excitement without safety creates stress, but safety without spark creates boredom. And the men who create deep connection bring both. They feel calm, steady, grounded, consistent, not chaotic, not emotionally unstable, not the type whose energy shifts constantly. And that consistency matters more than most men realize, because women feel men through emotional coherence before they trust them through words. And when your presence lowers tension in her body without draining the spark, that is when connection starts forming. The second behavior is noticing what most people miss, because there is a difference between giving attention and giving accurate attention. Generic attention is easy and forgettable, but accurate attention lands deeply. When you notice her emotional shifts, her subtle reactions, the things she does not say out loud, she feels seen instead of just observed. And being seen is one of the strongest emotional anchors in human psychology. Because most people interact at the surface level, while very few engage at the level of emotional truth. And the man who can do that becomes memorable quickly. The third behavior is staying calm when emotions enter the room. Because many men can handle playful interaction, but collapse when real emotion appears. They rush to fix, become uncomfortable, or shift the focus to themselves, and that is where connection dies. But when a man stays grounded in the presence of her emotions, without trying to control or escape them, she feels safe to open more. Because emotional safety is not created by perfect words, but by emotional stability, the ability to remain present without being shaken by what she shares. And that is rare, and rare creates depth. The fourth behavior is having a life that does not depend on her reactions, because a woman cannot deeply respect a man whose emotional state depends on her attention. If his mood rises and falls with every message, she feels the instability, and instability creates pressure. But when she feels that his world is stable, meaningful, and grounded with or without her, his attention feels valuable, chosen, not desperate. And that creates a completely different emotional dynamic. One that feels attractive instead of heavy. The fifth behavior is creating emotional tension without drama, because connection does not grow in emotional flatness. It grows in movement, in playfulness, in subtle tension, not chaos, not games, but polarity. Small moments of challenge, pauses, eye contact, light teasing, emotional variation, and that creates an experience that feels alive. Because the brain bonds with what feels dynamic, not what feels predictable. The sixth behavior is making her feel understood without trying to own her. Because many men try to create connection by overwhelming her with attention and intensity too early. But that often feels invasive, while the stronger man creates understanding without pressure. He sees her, acknowledges her, but still gives her space to exist freely. And that combination of depth and freedom is rare and powerful, because it allows connection to grow without feeling controlled. And the seventh behavior is leaving emotional memory behind, because the deepest connection is not built only in the moment, but in what lingers after. The way she replays how she felt around you, the moments that echo, the conversations that stay with her, the silence that felt meaningful, the presence that remained in her body after you left. And that is what most men miss. The goal is not to overwhelm her with constant interaction, but to create moments that resonate, moments that stay alive even when you are not there. Because that is where emotional attachment begins, not in pressure, but in resonance. So here is the pattern. A woman feels deeply connected when you create safety without losing spark. Notice what others miss. Stay grounded in emotion. Live independently of her reactions. Create tension without drama. Understand her without crowding her. And leave emotional memory behind. And the key is not one action, but the pattern. Repeated emotional experiences that feel safe, alive, grounded, honest, and hard to replace. And the most important part is this. Your goal is not to make her dependent on you. Your goal is to become the kind of man whose presence feels so emotionally real that connection with you stands out from everything else. Because in the end, women do not stay attached to the men who try the hardest. They stay attached to the men who made them feel something genuine, calm, and deep enough that their nervous system does not want to let it go. And if this changed how you see attraction, subscribe, because in the next video, I am going to show you the subtle signs a woman gives when she is trying to act normal, but is already far more emotionally invested than she planned. And once you see those signs, you will never miss the moment when attraction turns into something deeper again.